It's 2 a.m. A blizzard is raging outside, 3 feet of snow, and there is a man sitting on a couch in the dark smiling at you. He doesn't speak, he doesn't blink, he just stares. Tonight we have 3 stories that will make you double check every lock in your house, because in each one, someone thought they were hidden, someone thought they were safe. They weren't. If stories like these make your pulse spike and your instincts scream, you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring the bell so you never miss a story like this. Like the video, drop a comment telling me which story messes with you the most, because trust me, all 3 of them are going to stay with you. Let's get into it. Story 1. The Man on the Couch. This happened about 3 years ago, just a week or 2 before Christmas. The original poster lived alone in a single family home up north. And when they say up north, they mean the kind of north where winter doesn't suggest staying inside. It commands it. That day, a blizzard had rolled through and left nearly 3 feet of snow on the ground. The kind of snow where you can't see your own driveway. The kind where the wind sounds like something alive pressing against the walls of your house looking for a way in. Our narrator stayed home all day. Smart call. And by evening, tucked into the couch with a pile of blankets and the TV murmuring in the background, they drifted off to sleep. Deep, peaceful sleep. The kind of sleep you only really get on brutal winter nights, warm and cocooned while the world outside turned white and violent. They slept for 2, maybe 3 hours, then they jolted awake. That Pacific kind of jolt, the one that happens when your subconscious registers something your sleeping mind can't quite process. A sound, light knocking, but by the time they were fully conscious, there was nothing. Just the wind, just the TV. They sat up, figured they dreamed it, and decided to head upstairs to bed. Reasonable, normal, they shut off the TV, got up and walked towards the stairs. By then, passing the front door, something stopped them. A feeling, that kind, quiet, animal instinct that doesn't have a language, just urgency. Check the door. They looked towards the people first. Blocked by snow or ice, couldn't see a thing, so they opened the door. No one there. But the snow told a different story. The snow was so deep that individual footprints weren't possible, but you could see where someone had dragged themselves through it. A heavy, deliberate path, cutting straight through 3 feet of occultation, right up to the porch, right to the front door, and then back out again, disappearing into what was essentially a whiteout. Past 5 feet, the world simply ceased to exist. Whoever had been there, if they were still out there, was invisible. The narrator closed and locked the door. Their first instinct was charitable. Maybe it was someone lost in the snow, going door to door trying to find help. That's what normal people hope, because normal people don't want to believe the alternative. The footprints led away. The person was gone. They'd probably moved on to the next house. They went upstairs, took a while to fall asleep. 2 hours later they woke up again, but this time something was deeply wrong. It was cold, not the cold of a house that at night, cold in the way a body registers alarm before the brain can catch up. Full shivering, visible breath in the dark bedroom, that kind of cold. The windows were all closed. The heat had been running all day. None of it made sense. They checked the time. It was only 2 hours after they had gone to bed. They went downstairs, found the thermostat. The dial had been turned off. The screen was dead, and they were almost certain they had not touched it. They turned towards the stairs to go back up and get their phone, and then they heard it. The couch. That Pacific creak, the one a couch makes when someone shifts their weight onto it. A sound so familiar in your own home that you don't even notice it until it happens at 4 a.m. when you're supposed to be alone. They froze. then slowly leaned around the corner into the living room. There was a man sitting on the couch, facing forward, head turned, looking directly at them. His eyes were wide, not blinking, not looking around, just locked on with this small, quiet smile. Not a grin, nothing theatrical, just enough of a curve at the corner of the mouth to communicate that something was profoundly, irreversibly wrong with what was happening. He said nothing. He did nothing, just watched. A narrator ran upstairs, bedroom door locked, phone in hand, calling the police in seconds. 30 seconds later, footsteps on the stairs. Slow, steady, not rushing. He stopped outside the bedroom door. 3 knocks, deliberately spaced, almost polite, and then he walked away. They waited in that freezing room for nearly 20 minutes before the police arrived. He was gone. Officers believed he had entered through the front door, possibly by picking the lock. The thermostat interference, the waiting, the knocking, none of it was ever fully explained. He took nothing, he hurt no one, but he sat in that living room, in the dark, in the middle of a blizzard, turned the heat off and waited. To this day, the narrator doesn't know what his plan was, but that smile, they'll never forget it. Story 2. Amber Knew First. This one comes from 2013. The narrator lived alone in a quiet, fostered neighborhood. Small houses, widely spaced, the kind of place where you move specifically because it's peaceful, isolated, safe. They had a dog named Amber, a large husky with bright amber eyes, hence the name. And Amber was, as huskies tend to be, deeply attuned to her world. One winter night, after getting home from work around 9 p.m, the narrator took Amber out for a walk on the wooded trail behind the house. Nothing unusual, just the routine of a quiet life in a quiet place. About 10 minutes in, Amber stopped. Not the distracted stopping of a dog catching a scent, a full, rigid halt. Body tight, head low, staring back down the trail behind them. The narrator turned. Pitch black woods, silence, nothing visible, nothing audible. After a long moment, Amber continued walking, but she wasn't the same. Something had shifted in her, a low-level tension that didn't leave. Back at the house, 10 minutes after they got inside, Amber went to the window and started howling. The narrator walked over to see what she was looking at. Most of the window was frosted over from the cold, but there was one clear patch in the center of the glass, a circle of warmth in the frost, like someone had been standing directly outside that window breathing on it for a while. The narrator called for Amber to settle down, told themselves it was nothing, and tried to move on with the evening. But the night wasn't done with them yet. Loud, sharp knocks hit the front door. A man's voice from outside. "Anyone home? I just need help with directions." The tone was wrong. Not lost, not cold, not frightened. Flat practice, like the words had been rehearsed precisely to sound casual. The narrator didn't answer. A beat of silence. Then, "I heard you in there. I know you're listening." But still no response from inside. Another long pause. Then a slam. His fist hit against the door, and his voice, low and deliberate, "You're a real piece of..." And then, "I'm sure this will come back around." A threat. Barely dressed up as anything else, he left, or appeared to. 40 minutes later, a car rolled slowly past the house. Headlights off. It parked directly in front. No one got out. It just sat there, engine idling. Then the power went out. Not a flicker, not a surge. A clean, deliberate cut. Someone had killed the power to the house. At that moment, the man began violently slamming his fist against the front door, and the narrator was on the phone with the police before the second blow landed. Footsteps moved around the exterior. He appeared at the window. just standing there in the dark outside, watching in through the glass. Police arrived, the car was gone, the man was gone, no arrests were made that night. For months afterwards, the narrator couldn't shake the feeling of being observed, that somewhere out in the trees or parked on the streets or standing just outside the light, he was watching, still waiting, and they said something that landed hard. If I had opened that door, I believe I would have gone missing. Story 3. What was in the back room? This last story is different. The threat here wasn't a stranger at the door. The danger, at least part of it, may have been sitting inside the building all along. Cece worked night shifts at a gas station on the outskirts of town for over 6 years. Not a glamorous job, but honest work, and Cece knew every rhythm of that place, every regular customer, every creak of the building in the wind, every light on the lot. A few months before telling this story, something happened that changed everything. Around 1 a.m, the phone rang. Cece answered. No one spoke, just breathing and the faint sound of wind hitting a microphone. Someone outside calling in. Cece hung up, unsettled but not yet alarmed. 10 minutes later, they went outside to clean the pump stations. Standard routine, the parking lot was empty, the road was dark, but something felt wrong in the specific way that wrongness registers before you can identify it. Like the space around you has changed, like you've become the only lit thing in a dark room, and something on the other side of the glass has noticed. They went back inside. An hour passed. The phone rang again. Before Cece could answer it, it stopped. Then, through the window, a man walking across the lot towards the entrance. Tall, broad-shouldered, he came inside, moved slowly through the aisles without touching anything, eyes fixed forward, tracking Cece from across the store with an expression that had no business being on a face in a gas station at 1 a.m. Dead eyes. That's the phrase Cece used. Dead eyes. Then movement in Cece's peripheral vision. Outside the window, on the far side of the building, someone else, moving. Metal crashed at the back door. Not a knock, a break-in. The second man had forced the rear entrance. Cece barely had time to process it before the man inside the store charged across the floor. Both men converged, grabbed Cece and dragged them to the back stockroom, which had been ransacked. Shelves knocked over, boxes ripped open, the entire space torn apart. Then they dragged Cece outside, through the snow into the dark, nearly a quarter mile into the tree line behind the station. They threw Cece face first into the snow and walked away. 10 degrees outside, no coat, no gloves. Cece lay there in the snow and understood, in that quiet clarity that comes when your body is running on pure animal survival, that they had been left there to die. They got up, followed the men's tracks back to the station, called the police. One of the men was later identified from security footages. The other has never been found. Here's the part that makes this story something entirely. Nothing of significant value was stolen. The register wasn't emptied. The safe wasn't touched. Whatever they were looking for, it wasn't money. When Cece asked her manager what could possibly have been in that back room, what someone would send 2 men to retrieve in the middle of the night, the manager acted strange, evasive, uncomfortable in a way that itself an answer. Weeks later, there was no explanation. After 6 years of reliable employment, Cece was fired, given severance pay, shown the door, and offered no reason whatsoever. Cece is still alive, still out there, and still has no idea what was in that back room. But they know one thing: someone does. 3 stories, 3 moments where someone thought they had the advantage.